Welcome to Late Night Journeys. This is a place where stories unfold slowly, where the quiet rhythm of words and sounds can help carry you gently toward rest. Here, we take long walks through peaceful worlds, sometimes real, sometimes touched by a little magic. Each journey is designed to ease your mind, calm your thoughts, and help you drift into deep, restful sleep. Tonight, we'll be stepping into something wondrous. Our path leads us to the heart of a great city, and through the tall doors of a legendary library. Imagine shelves stretching higher than your eyes can follow, ancient wood groaning under the weight of countless books. Small candles float through the air, glowing softly like fireflies, while the warmth of a massive hearth spreads across the quiet hall. This library is alive, a place of wisdom, of wonder, and tonight we will wander through it together. Before we begin, let's take a moment to set aside the weight of the day. Close your eyes if you'd like. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it gently for a moment and let it out slowly through your mouth. Feel your chest and shoulders soften as the air leaves you. Again, breathe in deeply. Let your lungs fill with calm. And exhale, letting go of tension, of noise, of hurry. Let your body grow a little heavier with each breath. Notice your jaw unclenching, your hands loosening, your feet sinking softly into the surface beneath you. The day is done. The tasks, the worries, and the little distractions can all wait until tomorrow. Right now, this time belongs to you. A time to wind down, to drift, to rest. As you breathe, let your thoughts slow to the rhythm of your heartbeat, like gentle footsteps echoing through a quiet hall. You are safe here, you are welcome here, and you are free to let yourself relax. In just a moment, our journey will begin. You'll hear the sounds of the library at night, the crackle of firewood, the creak of wooden shelves, the faint scratch of quills across parchment. You'll walk in the footsteps of a young wizard apprentice, curious, thoughtful, and calm. This story isn't about rushing or excitement. It's about slowing down. It's about feeling at peace in a magical place where time seems to move gently, like pages turning one by one. So, allow yourself to be carried by the words. If your mind drifts, that's perfectly fine. The story will be here, patiently unfolding, whether you follow every word or simply let the sound of my voice guide you into sleep. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to support late-night journeys. If you enjoy these calm adventures, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps this community grow, and it ensures you'll always have a new journey waiting for you at bedtime. Now, let's step quietly into the story. The young apprentice is waiting at the library doors. The night is still, the candles are glowing, and the hearth is warm. Take one more deep breath, let it out slowly, and let's begin. The night is quiet as the young apprentice makes his way up the winding path. Each step is steady and measured, his boots brushing against smooth stone worn down by centuries of travelers before him. The path curves gently, lined with lanterns that glow with soft golden light. They sway slightly in the evening breeze, their warm glow dancing on the cobblestones. Ahead, the library rises into view. At first, it seems like a shadow against the night sky, a dark outline stretching high above the city rooftops. But as he draws nearer, the true shape reveals itself. Walls of polished stone shimmer faintly in the moonlight, etched with ancient runes that glimmer like starlight. The great library towers above all else, vast and quiet, yet welcoming, as though it holds the heartbeat of the city itself. Its entrance alone is large enough to dwarf even the tallest man. Two immense doors of carved oak stand before him, their surface patterned with spirals of vines and celestial symbols. The scent of old wood, touched by age but preserved by care, drifts gently in the cool air. Above the doors, enormous arched windows gleam, catching the glow of the floating candles that drift within. They shine like fireflies caught in amber, a promise of the wonders waiting beyond. The apprentice pauses at the foot of the steps, tilting his head back to take it all in. The size of the library is overwhelming, yet strangely calming. It feels less like a building and more like a living presence, ancient, steady, and patient. A place that has watched generations rise and fall, always guarding its treasures of wisdom and magic. He takes a slow breath, steadying himself. Tonight is not like other nights. This is the eve of his final test, the trial that will decide if he will rise from apprentice to mage. One of the greatest honors a person can achieve in this city of wonders. The thought brings a soft flutter of nerves to his chest, but the warm glow from the windows above seems to answer, reassuring him. He is ready. He has studied for years, worked through endless nights, and walked this path in his dreams many times. Now at last the journey is real. With calm determination, he places his hand against the cool wood of the great doors. They creak open slowly as though stirred awake. A soft rush of warm air, scented with parchment, ink, and firelight, drifts out to greet him. The apprentice steps forward and enters the magic library. The doors close softly behind him, and the vast silence of the library settles like a blanket around his shoulders. It is not an empty silence, but a living one. The air hums with the faint sounds of the night within, the quiet crackle of firewood, the distant rustle of parchment, the gentle creak of old wood shifting under the weight of centuries of knowledge. Rows upon rows of shelves stretch outward in every direction, so tall they seem to fade into the high-vaulted ceiling above. Each shelf is heavy with tomes bound in leather, scrolls wrapped in ribbon, and parchment curled with age. Their spines shimmer in colors both ordinary and strange. Deep maroons, soft blues, glints of silver and gold that catch the light of the floating candles drifting lazily overhead. The apprentice moves softly between the shelves, his footsteps muffled against the polished wooden floor. As he passes, he trails his fingers along the bindings of books, feeling the cool texture of leather and the raised edges of ancient lettering. Every step brings with it the faint whisper of pages turning somewhere in the distance, the gentle scratch of quills dipping into ink, the low murmur of wizards lost in their own studies. Overhead, the ceiling arches like the night sky itself, painted in deep indigos and dotted with specks of starlight that seem to twinkle faintly as though alive. The library breathes with magic, subtle, steady, and calming. It is a place of learning, but also of rest, of peace, of comfort. At last, the shelves open into a wide circular hall where the great hearth burns. Its flames glow warmly, casting golden light across the floor and walls. The fire crackles softly, filling the space with the rich scent of burning oak. A few scholars sit scattered about, lost in their books, their faces bathed in the gentle light. Against the far wall, the apprentice finds his favorite place, a wide, worn couch, its cushions deep and welcoming. It sits near enough to the hearth for warmth, but far enough to rest in quiet shadow. He lowers himself into the couch, feeling the softness embrace him as though it remembers his visits. The heat of the fire washes gently over him, warming his hands and face, easing away the last of the night's chill. For a moment he lets his eyes wander to the flickering flames, to the shelves that circle the hall like guardians, to the soft glow of candles drifting above. Then, slowly, he slides the rucksack from his shoulder, placing it carefully on the floor beside him. The sound of leather buckles and rustling cloth fills the quiet. From within, he pulls free a stack of heavy textbooks, their covers marked with runes and titles etched in fading ink. He sets them neatly before him, their weight solid and reassuring. The apprentice leans forward, opens the first book, and with the soft turn of a page, his night of study begins. Time drifts quietly as the apprentice bends over his books. The library is timeless. Within its walls, hours pass like the turning of a single page. The soft glow of floating candles gathers above him, their light shifting gently as if they too are leaning in to watch. He begins with spells, the familiar motions of the hand, the cadence of whispered words. His lips move silently as he recalls each incantation, his fingers sketching patterns in the air as though holding invisible quills. Some spells are small and simple, a spark to light a lantern, a charm to calm restless sleep. Others are more complex, weaving together strings of power that demand focus and precision. The young apprentice rehearses them all, letting memory and muscle recall each detail, until the forms come as naturally as breath. When his mind begins to wander, he turns the page and moves to potions and remedies. He recites the names of herbs and roots, remembering their scents, their textures, their strengths. Dried mandrake for clarity of thought, powdered moonstone to soothe fever, petals of silver lily to draw out poisons. The ingredients gather in his imagination like a garden of shimmering color, each with its own purpose, each with its own story. From there, his studies drift into the long history of the great mages who came before him. He reads of their triumphs and their trials, the ones who bent the winds to sail across oceans, the ones who healed entire villages with a single spell, the ones who discovered hidden realms deep beneath the earth, each name etched in the record of time, each story a reminder of what it means to walk this path. And at last he finds himself reading about the creatures of the land, the phoenix with its flames of rebirth, the moon stag whose antlers glow softly under starlight, the gentle river sprites whose laughter turns water into song. He smiles faintly as he studies them, marveling at the beauty of a world where magic and life are woven together so seamlessly. But as the hours pass, his body begins to remind him of its limits. His eyes grow heavy, and the lines on the page blur into one another. The words begin to drift, slipping away like water through his fingers. He blinks, rubs at his tired eyes, and leans back into the couch with a quiet sigh. The warmth of the fire tempts him to close his eyes completely, but he knows he needs a pause, not sleep. With slow, careful movements, he gathers his textbooks into a neat pile, sliding them back into his rucksack. The buckles close with a soft click, echoing faintly in the vast hall. He stands, stretching his arms, feeling the stiffness ease from his back and shoulders. The library is still alive around him. The quiet murmur of scholars, the rustle of parchment, the ever-present crackle of the hearth. But now his thoughts turn towards something simpler, something comforting. It is time for a break. The apprentice turns toward the long hallway that leads deeper into the library, toward the cafeteria, where warmth and nourishment await. With quiet footsteps, he begins the walk. The hallway narrows and then opens once more into a broad chamber, the library's cafeteria. Though quieter than the great hall, it holds its own kind of magic. Stained glass windows rise tall along the walls, each panel a masterpiece of color and light. In them, scenes of old legends come alive, mages weaving starlight into spells, phoenixes bursting into flame, rivers turning to silver under the moon. By day, the windows catch the sun, but at night, with the floating candles drifting gently above, they shimmer like jewels, casting splashes of color across the tables and stone floor. The apprentice pauses, gazing up at them. The blues gleam like deep ocean waters, the reds burn like embers, and the greens glow like spring leaves at dawn. The light shifts as the candles float past, so the pictures seem to breathe, as if the stories themselves still live within the glass. He moves forward, the soft scent of warm bread and herbs guiding him toward the counter. Behind it, the cook looks up with a smile. A broad, kind man, with sleeves rolled high, hands stained faintly by spices and leaves. They share a familiar nod, the quiet greeting of two souls who have met here countless times before. Late again, are we? The cook says softly, his voice gentle and amused. The apprentice smiles faintly and nods. My studies keep me longer each night. Tonight more than most. The cook chuckles, turning to his shelves of jars and bundles of herbs. I thought you might come. Sit. I'll make you something warm. The apprentice rests his hands on the polished counter, watching as the cook works. A clay cup is set down, steam rising as hot water is poured. The cook adds a small spoonful of dried leaves, their scent rich and calming, then crumbles in a few herbs from a bundle tied with twine. The mixture swirls, filling the air with a soothing fragrance. Soft mint, warm chamomile, and something faintly sweet, like honey, drawn from wild blossoms. This will calm the body and sharpen the mind, the cook says, sliding the cup gently toward him. The apprentice accepts it with both hands, feeling the warmth seep into his fingers. He bows his head slightly. Thank you, truly. They share a quiet moment. No need for many words. This ritual has become its own kind of friendship, one built not on conversation, but on presence, on kindness, on shared nights in the library's glow. With another smile, the apprentice turns, carrying the tea carefully back through the hall. The steam rises in soft curls, trailing behind him like threads of comfort. He retraces his steps, passing beneath the stained glass, watching the colors ripple across the floor as though blessing his way. Soon he is back in the familiar glow of the hearth. He sets his cup down on the small table beside the couch, settles once more into its cushions, and exhales as the warmth embraces him. With his rucksack at his side, his books spread before him, and the tea close at hand, he is ready again. The apprentice takes his first sip, smooth, steady, grounding. The world slows, sharpens, and softens all at once. He opens his book once more, and the night of study continues. The hours slip by, measured not by clocks or chimes, but by the steady rhythm of pages turning beneath his hands. The apprentice leans forward over his notes, his quill moving in soft, deliberate strokes as he underlines passages, copies words, and sketches symbols into the margins. The warmth of the tea lingers for a time, keeping his mind sharp and focused, but eventually its gentle calm begins to fade. Still, his confidence grows with each passing chapter. Spells that once felt uncertain now come easily to memory. The names of herbs and their properties fall from his lips in a quiet, steady rhythm. The stories of the great mages seem to settle into him, their lessons resting firmly in his thoughts. He feels ready, not perfect, not finished, but prepared enough to stand before his test in the morning with a steady heart. At last he exhales deeply, leaning back into the couch. The fire still burns softly in the hearth, though its flames have grown low, glowing more than crackling. The floating candles drift lazily above, casting their soft light across the hall. The sounds of the library surround him, the distant turning of pages, the soft rustle of robes, the hushed footsteps of late-night wanderers, all fading gently, as though the library itself is winding down with him. He closes his book, stacking it neatly with the others, and slips them carefully into his rucksack. The buckles fasten with a quiet click, and he lifts the weight to his shoulder once more. It feels lighter than before, as if knowledge has settled inside him rather than weighing him down. Rising from the couch, he takes a slow look around the hall. The shelves loom tall, ancient and steady, their countless tomes resting in silence. The air carries the familiar scent of parchment, ink, and old wood. The great hearth glows softly, a guardian flame keeping watch through the night. He lingers for a moment longer, allowing himself to take it all in. The vastness, the comfort, the quiet power of the place that has guided him for so many years. Then, with a final nod of gratitude, he turns toward the tall oak doors. His footsteps echo softly in the vast hall as he makes his way out. The doors creak gently open, and a breath of cool night air greets him. The apprentice steps outside, pausing at the top of the library steps. Behind him, the glow of the candles and stained glass windows gleam faintly in the dark. Ahead, The winding path leads down toward his chambers, where rest awaits. He takes one last deep breath, feeling the peace of the night settle into him. The test will come with the dawn, but for now he is ready. With quiet steps, the young apprentice descends the path, leaving the library behind until morning, and the night, calm and content, carries him home. The apprentice reaches his chamber at last, a quiet room tucked into the far corner of the mage's quarters. The door closes behind him with a soft thud, and the familiar stillness welcomes him in. A single candle flickers on the bedside table, casting gentle shadows across the walls lined with shelves of his own. Not grand like the libraries, but filled with well-worn notes, hand-me-down books, and scrolls tied with simple ribbon. He sets his rucksack carefully by the desk, resting his hand on it for a moment, as though in thanks. Then, with slow, steady movements, he changes out of his travel-worn clothes and into the softer garments of rest. The quiet rustle of fabric is the only sound, mingling with the faint hum of the night outside his window. The bed is simple but welcoming. Thick blankets lie folded neatly, holding the faint scent of lavender from the laundress's careful hand. The apprentice lowers himself onto the mattress, sinking into its warmth as the weight of the day finally leaves his shoulders. His body is weary, his muscles heavy, but his heart feels light. He lies still for a moment, staring up at the ceiling beams, letting his mind wander. Confidence swells gently within him. He knows the spells, the potions, the histories. He has walked the library's halls, studied until his eyes blurred, and found his strength in the knowledge he has gathered. He is ready for the trials that dawn will bring. And yet, as sleep begins to tug at him, another feeling stirs, a quiet nostalgia for the nights spent as an apprentice, when the world of magic was still new and untested, for the countless hours with ink-stained fingers and candle-lit pages, for the small joys like the cook's steady kindness, the warmth of the hearth, the wonder of discovering creatures he had only dreamed of. This chapter of his life is nearly over. Ahead lies a future of greater responsibility, of deeper mysteries, of magic yet unseen. But tonight he allows himself a moment of gratitude for where he has been, for what he has learned, and for the boy he was when this journey began. His eyelids grow heavy, his breath deep and even. The candle flickers once, then settles into a steady glow as if keeping watch over him. With a final thought of thanks to his teachers, to the library, to the journey that shaped him, the apprentice drifts into slumber. Sleep carries him gently, and in its embrace he rests, ready for the trials ahead.